get you the attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and their subordinate.
Yeah,
Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and or their affiliate and subordinate ministries, and or non-profits.
and,
So
you know, you say it enough times good before, so one time slip up, you know.
why is that so loud?
I'm really jamming now, man.
Yeah, that's loud.
Woo, goodness gracious.
Wow. I'm
M
awake
for
now.
merge. M for merge.
I'm waking up.
Good morning! Coming to you live from Axe Media Group headquarters here in the beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay with your hosts. Matt and Jay and Steve and Jeff with a Jeeve.
Eve?
I just wanted it to rhyme.
Oh. Okay.
Jeff with the Jeeve. You like that?
Jeff with a G.
Yeah. People need to remind us. Time to time.
It's a new stage name.
Jeff with a G.
Jeff with a G.
I think I know what happened on this one. I think I know what's so loud. Wait for it. Is that better?
It's back to normal.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
Ow, Steve.
And Jeff with a G.
And I
what's up with
busted
your
my
knee?
knee. Oh, man.
Now, see, that rhymed.
Yes, it did.
But it's
probably
big ouch
hurt.
in the end.
And it was timed. So we're glad to have everybody on board with us today. So today's topic, what's on your mind? Tell us about your day. If you have any questions you want to ask.
I think we should start with Jeff.
What's on my mind?
What's on your mind?
A couple things.
Ooh.
I was reading Proverbs 21 today.
Ooh, good
Proverbs
start.
21:31.
All right.
The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. Ooh. And then I was thinking about Jay's new show. What's the name of that?
Just the facts, Trump versus Biden.
Just the facts.
Biden versus Trump.
Biden
It's
versus
Trump versus Biden.
No,
actually.
it's supposed to be
Hey,
Biden
it's-
versus Trump.
They're both verses,
It says,
so.
it says just the facts, Trump versus Biden.
Yeah, but it was done wrong.
It was not done wrong.
Yes, it was. So anyway,
Shall we just
you were
sit
thinking
here
about the
and
show.
watch you
Yeah,
guys
so
go
what-
And
back?
why did the proverb make you think of that? Why did it bring that to mind?
Because you're wrong.
The horse is prepared against the day of battle, but safety is of the Lord. Proverbs 21:31. I'll ask
Morning,
you that,
Scott.
Jay.
Welcome to the party.
You're the expert. You're the expert. The Biden,
How it would,
yeah.
how that proverb would?
Yeah, the
I think safety, in that context, would mean knowing and understanding the candidates and what they're actually going to do. You have Republican and Democratic Party platforms, right, where they've decided as a group what they're going to say to gain support. And that's what it is they're trying to gain support. But in fact, those people are individuals. They see problems in their own unique way, from their own unique perspective. And they may be influenced by the people around them or the people that they seek out to gain their perspective. You know, people they might ask about a topic or a subject to gain somebody else's perspective. Well, both of those people are going to have their own types of personalities and people of certain types of problems and certain economic and social groups. And they're going to seek out those people because that's who they gravitate towards, and those people are the ones who will have the most influence on our president, who we elect. And they all have a history. They're older people. They're advanced in years, so they have a history that you can look into to find out what they're actually going to do.
Susan Burrows.
And I
Steve
think it's
Schultz.
important for safety's sake to understand
Melton.
what you can actually expect and what
Uncle Ray.
social and economic groups they will gravitate towards to gain perspective so that they will pursue a certain thing
Danny Patterson.
and to make a difference in a certain way.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
and they have fundamental underlying beliefs, they're actually easily influenced. They would not be in the position. You can't be in a political position these days without being easily influenced,
What's
because
on
you're
your
not
mind?
representing yourself. You're representing everybody else. So if you don't allow the people around you to influence you, then you're not speaking for them. Because when people hear you speak, to give you their support, the words they hear you say have to in some way represent them.
That's like sometimes.
So it's important to know who they're influenced by and who they gravitate towards, because that's what they're going to do
A
when they're
wise man once told me one time, and I didn't take it to heart. It's better to be silent and to be thoughtful than to speak and remove all doubt.
Amen. I've heard that so many times.
That's what's on my mind today. I'm just trying to. I wasn't trying to interrupt you. I was just acknowledging everybody that's joining us.
So-
Larry Melton, hello.
So there's a lot of people out there. We know they're marching in the streets. There's rioting and all that stuff. And they're rioting because of the election in 2016. They found things going back away from what the progress they thought they had been making.
Exactly.
So you might be able to attribute. Okay, you know how they say all the time, the reason the economy is doing so well when Trump is in office is because of the work that the last president actually did. Well, if that's the case, then how can they blame Trump for the rioting? Because isn't that really the effect of the administration before him? You know what I mean? So you can't have it both ways. It's not really the truth. The truth is that I think when you look at how people are actually affected, they're affected by the person in office. They perceive what those people are saying and what they're working towards and the struggle that's going on in government as a real-time issue. The only reason people refer to the former one is to lay blame for the failings. And that's not really a fair way to govern, I don't think. The truth is they have the apparatus to find out what problems are and to do something about them. And the struggle is there, and it's real because you have people from different perspectives all governing. And I think it's working the way it's supposed to. The thing is that it's to the extremes. Anyway, I don't know. I think understand the people that are running, because you're voting for somebody who's going to do something. And when they're there, they're going to do what they've always done. So if you want more, I think my fear is that if Biden gets in, now this is my opinion, but my feeling is if Biden gets in, I will again be silenced. I won't be able to express my feelings in my faith, my feelings about what right and wrong is, my feelings about what is true and what is false, about biology and humanity, about the state of the world, and that it will be met with aggression and public humiliation.
You'll be
because I
silenced.
experienced all of those things before Trump got into office. And I know that you can blame, you can say that the reason I now am feeling like I can speak out a little bit more confidently, though I did before, but without such an aggressive response and without everybody else just getting on board because they're afraid of the consequence. But that's a result of what he's been saying publicly, is my ability to speak out more without a hostile response.
Who's been saying publicly?
Trump.
Trump, yeah, okay.
President Trump. He spoke out, he's been taking the heat, and he's been okay. And that's an example of what we can all do.
Exactly.
All right, so don't be afraid to chime in. What's on your mind today? What are you guys thinking about? What do you want to talk about? I mean, didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to give everybody the opportunity for you to bring something up or to weigh in on the subject at hand. So, just don't be afraid to interrupt us. We're here for you.
We interrupt each other all the time.
I'm definitely in support of all that we've learned through the hostilities, though. From the time before Trump came into office, I did feel I was met with hostility. Though I spoke out anyway, and I accepted the hostile treatment and fought against it and stood up for myself, I was willing to do that, but I appreciate what I learned from that and was changed by it and gained a perspective that I wouldn't have gained without the hostility and without the aggressive speech that people were putting out there. You have to be willing to take on the aggression, and you have to be willing to I don't know about meet it, but to understand that those are feelings that are being generated with real reason behind it. You know, and those things are important, and it was important for them to come to the forefront. I do believe that.
Right. And obviously now we're dealing with some deplatforming and people being kicked off of Twitter and
Yeah,
accounts closed.
He needs to
shadow banning.
So there's that's what you're referencing. And
Yeah, well, part of it. Yeah, it was a whole social tide.
and the PC police.
Now there may be consequences for that, and this election will make that, will solidify that the platforms we use will be held accountable for that.
Oh, I still had.
No, you were too quiet.
We have
I was
real
too quiet, yeah.
we have real problems in justice too. I don't think people feel when people look at the complex issues of today and the complexity of law and the agreements that they sign just to get an app. And when they try to read it and say, I don't even understand what this says.
Oh, so there's a real. I didn't know that about apps.
Yeah, you never signed I agree? You never checked the box I agree?
I did, but
Did you did you ever click on the blue agreement?
Oh yeah, where it's like
50,
35,000
60
pages long.
You mean
Yeah,
just
exactly.
just to get onto someone else's
Yeah.
app?
To get an app that you want to use,
Right.
you have to say I agree to the terms. Did you ever click on the blue link that says what the terms and conditions are?
Good morning, Becky.
Full
Rollins
disclosure?
Have you ever looked on them?
No.
Have you ever even tried to look at one?
I tried and fell asleep. So because
True.
it's like they're like a mile and a half long.
They are.
What is
There's. I think they're too long sometimes.
what is something in there that I maybe needed to have?
Where you have to
Investigate.
sacrifice
You-
your firstborn child.
You're right to say something.
You give them the rights to all of the information that they gather through it. So every ad you click on, everything that you're interested in that you pursue, or everything that you do on that app is information they can use to
Terry
tell
Smothers.
their advertisers what will get somebody like you to look at their ad and buy their stuff.
Good point.
And it
Good way of
takes
looking
and
at it.
accumulates data and finds the most effective way, and then they sell that to their advertisers.
And you've already clicked that you agree to the terms and do that.
I thought that was the case anyway, but I didn't realize you're actually, if you didn't agree. So what if you don't agree to that?
You don't get
well,
the app.
then you don't get the app.
Right.
Yeah. But
Right.
not only that, they can put in there that they agree. You can agree that even if you delete
Disagree.
the app, they still have access to your searches.
Because now they got your information.
Do you know whether or not you've agreed to that? That you've agreed. I would tell you, you've agreed to give people who provided those apps access to your data, your searches, everything you do online, your microphone, your camera. You've agreed to give them access to that, even if you uninstall their app, they still have access to it. You've agreed to it and said, I agree.
You mean everything I do on my
Yeah,
everything.
phone,
You can
computer,
go ahead and
at all,
uninstall, but
at
they still
all,
have all your
even
info.
if it's not involved with that app.
Yep.
Even if it's not involved.
Even if you delete the app.
Yep.
So they have carte blanche into my
Yes.
Yep.
everything on my everything
Yes.
on my every search, every email,
Yep.
even emails.
Yep.
I don't know about emails.
I think so.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's possible.
I think
we
if
don't
you've
know.
agreed to it, you've agreed to it. If you didn't read the agreement, you don't know. And it doesn't matter whether you agreed. It doesn't matter whether you read and know that you agreed to it. What matters is whether or not you said I agree.
Oh, I know, but I mean, I'm just questioning whether that actually would include emails.
Of course. If they say it includes emails and you say I agree,
No,
then
no,
it
no.
includes
If
emails.
if it does it say that they have access?
I
to
don't
your
know.
We don't know.
Does
None
it?
of us have read them either.
And I'm
You-
guilty.
you
I
haven't-
haven't
you
either.
No.
Oh, so
The world changed around me, and this stuff
Dennis
became
Severson.
necessary to function in a
Well,
modern
good morning,
world.
Susan. Welcome to my watch party.
So I used this stuff to function in this modern world.
I gotta read this comment from Dennis Everson. I agree that I didn't agree because if I agreed, I would have had to known what I agreed to, and I do not know what I agreed to, so I hope everybody agrees that that's not agreeable.
It's not
I agree.
agreeable. I think that there should be limited to one page. If
Yeah.
you can't say what the people are
Thank
agreeing
you.
to
Thank you,
in
Susan.
one page, you're trying to get way too much out of that agreement.
Nice to see you
and
too.
it's not a fair trade.
Amber
Sort
Shreve,
of.
fellow coach, how you doing?
And they should be limited to the amount of links they put on that one page of agreements.
Shout out. What's
So
on your
there
mind
shouldn't
today?
be a highlighted blue thing that translates into 100 more pages. It should be included on that one page that they get for that agreement. It should be in layman's terms, not legal terms. I think the courts should be that a person should be able to speak their mind and their case in court without having to have a legal language that they understand, that they should be able to speak in layman's terms, and a judge should have to translate layman's terms into a legal language for
Yep.
himself. That's what he is there for.
Jay for president.
Amen.
And they have complicated all of these issues so much that we feel excluded from our own country and our
Larry
own
Melton,
government
welcome to the party.
and justice. Don't you feel a little bit excluded from justice?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you remember that time that I tried to just do something on my own? And I got yelled at by the judge
Yeah.
because I didn't. Okay, so, and, all right, so what?
Wait, hold it. Why were you in front of a judge?
Oh, well, first of all, I've been in trouble in the past.
Oh,
I've had 2 DWIs, and I had my license revoked for 5 years. Well, after that 5-year revocation was done, I had to go and go before a judge again. It's a requirement. You can't do it just paperwork or anything. You have to go before a judge and fill out all this paperwork, pay to have. I didn't know at the time you have to have the state of Missouri Department of Revenue served. And petitioned, and they have to get their response, and you need quite a few other things. Well, I didn't know all that. All I know is I filled out the paperwork to be able to stand before a judge
by yourself.
by myself because I wasn't in trouble. I was trying to get my license back. But that
is
Yeah, 'cause
that
in
is
order
a
to
type
have-
of trouble. I mean, it's minor trouble, but
oh no, it was major trouble. I mean, it wasn't felony or anything.
wait. But you said you weren't in trouble, so
At that time, no, I was just trying to get my license reinstated from where I was in trouble before.
right. That's what I mean. It's a type of trouble.
Yeah,
It's a
oh, yeah, yeah,
challenge.
yeah.
It's
Well,
a
it's-
hurdle to clear.
It's a
yeah.
pain in the beep. I mean, I will tell you that
It's like a residual issue.
I had to hire a lawyer in order to go before the judge. I tried to go before the judge, and he was pretty rude to me about it, and because I didn't have counsel, and he said, "Well, you need some other things besides just this." I said, "Well, what else do I need?" Get a lawyer. He'll tell you. Get a lawyer. Get a lawyer.
I get it. The populations are so high, the courts would be overwhelmed. They would.
May I tell you my legal hurdle in the court that I had to jump?
What's
Wait a
that?
minute. You had to jump a legal hurdle?
I did.
Ooh.
Jeff,
I did.
I'm so disappointed.
I did.
What is it?
The first one, I'll get out of the way really fast. This was in Jersey.
Of course you're going to do
My nephew, who's young, of color, he's Nepali, but he's a darker complected kid. So they're as far as that went, as far as why he got pulled over in the first place. He had borrowed my car. He couldn't find the registration. The cop couldn't find the registration, which was in the glove compartment. But he had they weren't giving him a break. So I went to court with him to try to get this taken care of. What the short story is that the lawyer at the court
Prosecutor.
prosecuting attorney, yeah, he said, okay, this is how it's going to go. I mean, he just said, come here, we're going to take care of this right now. I said, okay. I said, this is what it's going to do. You're going to pay $100, and we're going to let him go, because it doesn't matter.
It's extortion.
It doesn't matter that you had the registration in the car and the police officer didn't see it, didn't recognize it. It was your nephew's responsibility to give it, whatever. So since neither of them could find what according to you was sitting there, which it was, and we don't really recognize. It's a different type of registration from. Well, he didn't really say this, but the Missouri registration looks different than the one in Jersey. Very different.
Well, they run the plate number and they have the registration.
No, they couldn't find it. There was a problem between the states. They couldn't find it. so even on the computer they couldn't find it, but it was there. And anyway, so I had to.
So
go
they should have to pay the $100.
Well, guess what? I said to make it go away, I paid the $100. So that was that one. But this is the other one. I'm in New York City, right? I'm riding my bicycle, and I see a cop car pulled over with this kid sitting next to his bicycle. He's like, it looks like he might have been hit, or he's on drugs. Something was going on, and they were with him. So I kind of went around the cop car, and it was like a teenager. So I'm just riding my bike. It's up in Harlem. Very quiet day. I'm going slowly. So I'm just, all of a sudden, boom, the lights are on. The same cop car is right there. Okay. I'm like, yes, officer, blah, blah, blah. He gave me 3 tickets. He said, you ran 3 lights in a row. So you get each successive ticket by New York ordinance. Each successive ticket became an extra ticket in the course of 18 months. So I got 3 tickets for 3 lights in a matter of about a minute or two. And the first ticket was like $160. The second one was $300 something. The third one was $900 something, because each
What?
successive ticket in the course of 18 months gets increased. So I had a $1,600 ticket for running 3 lights on my bicycle in Manhattan, going about 5 miles an hour with no cars. And each light, of course, I pulled up a look, but I probably didn't come to a dead halt at those corners. So I got $1,600 tickets. So I went straight to the courthouse on 125th Street, and I walked in. I locked my bike on the street, and went up, saw what they call ambulance chaser. Who these are the lawyers who hang out at the motor vehicle in different places, courthouses. And I said to the guy, I showed him what I got. I said, can you do something with this? And I didn't even know. I mean, he just looked like one of the ambulance chasers. I said, you are a lawyer? He said, yes. He said, okay, give me $250. And you don't even have to show up at court. I'll take care of it. I said, well, can I come? Yeah. So 5 months later, I go to court with them, because I wanted to be. He said it wouldn't hurt. He said, you look like you probably could show yourself pretty well. So he asked me one question in front of the judge. It's basically tell my story. The cop was there, and I told this story. And first of all, when we got there, he said, I know the judge. She's good. She'll be fine. If it wasn't she, I would postpone it. And he said, he also said, I'm going to ask you one question.
Morning,
I'm
Rob
going to ask you
Jopkins.
one question, and this is all you're going to do is tell me your recollection of what happened. And I told him basically the same story. And so he's a female judge, and she said, okay, these second 2, they're out. They're done. This is what you're going to do. You're going to pay the first ticket, and no court fees. He goes away. I said, thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
And the cop, I said to the cop on my way out, thank you for your service.
Wow.
And he ignored me.
I wonder why.
The guy, you know what the lawyer told me? He said the cop was lazy. He says he's getting his unofficial
Quota.
Yeah.
You said it.
No, that's what it's called. They have a quota.
I know he
Oh,
said
yeah,
it.
they do.
I'm not saying it. So he said, we're good. And I made sure I kept that lawyer's phone number just in case.
But still, it cost you how much? $250 for a lawyer and $160 for a ticket
Yes.
that you didn't even do anything wrong to begin
Well,
with.
I mean, strictly speaking, I didn't come to a dead halt.
For 3 seconds. You're supposed to a legal stop
Unless
is
you're in
considered
California.
stopping for 3-second count.
On my bicycle in a very slow day in Harlem. And
He wants to ride his
it was-
bicycle.
but the point is, the point is that
Go ahead.
if I didn't have that lawyer, I would have been out $1,600 plus
Court cost.
court.
For such a simple thing that you should have been able to go to court and say.
And if I got another ticket within the next 18 months,
Yeah.
it would have been another $1,000 ticket, $900+ ticket.
And a lazy cop, you could have just ended up being a victim of another lazy cop who didn't want to actually do the work to ticket somebody who was breaking a law and clearly endangering the public. He could have just saw the person right in front of him, waited until they made one little mistake and wrote a ticket for it.
Absolutely. And by the way, I told when the cop pulled me over, I told him what happened. I told him, I said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know what was going on," and it was just like getting out of the way. But he was rough.
I got to chime in here about something that happened to me years ago when I went to Bible college. I was in a Volkswagen, and apparently I didn't have a glove compartment.
Julie, hello.
So I took my license. I have my license, but I took my insurance and everything and put it underneath my seat. And of course, I'm coming back from college. I was living with my brother and sister-in-law at the time, and this is in a town that's pretty small, like a community. And I'm driving, and all of a sudden I see this. Oh, I know what it was. It was through a school zone. And I think it was like 25, and then it's like 35 right after that. So I was starting to slow down, and I didn't realize that it was 25. I thought it was still 35. So I started slowing down. Actually, because it was school, I started slowing down anyway, but it was already too late. The police officer pulls back behind me. No, I know what it was. There was officers out there pulling people over. Literally, he had like 3 people that he just said, "Pull over, pull over, pull over," and I was one of them. And I was like, "What did I do?" And now my leg is starting to shake. I mean, I'm really nervous. And so he comes up to me and goes, "Do you realize what you were doing?" I said, "No, sir." And he's like, "Do you know that this is a school zone and you were speeding?" And I was like, "I was. The difference between 35 and 25, I started slowing down. He goes, "Doesn't matter. You were speeding." He wouldn't. He's a lieutenant. He's very well known in the community for being a real jerk. He was lieutenant. And so he proceeds to tell me, he says, "Well, I need your license and registration." So I'm in the middle of trying to find my registration. And I'm like, I know my registration's here. I was so nervous I forgot that the registration's underneath the seat. So I was good. But I'd forgotten. I'm like, I know the registration's here somewhere. And I think it was a glove compartment that was not working or something. And I opened it up and I'm like, I know it's here somewhere. And so he's like, I'm waiting, and I'm like, "Sir, I'm hurrying." I mean, I was like, blah, 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 blah. So he's like, "I'll be right back." So I'm waiting, and I'm like, "Man, where is this? Where's this registration?" And so my brother didn't know at the time. They were both home, and so he said, "You know what? You need to stay right here. We're gonna have to call a tow service." I was like, "Excuse me?"
Oh,
They were going to have to tow my car because I didn't have any insurance.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, what am I going to do about it? And so I had to call my brother and sister-in-law to come get me. My brother was hot. He was like, "What in the world are you pulling my brother over for this?"
Uh-oh.
And so I went across the street to this cafe, and I'm sitting next to this other police officer. Of course, I didn't know it was the chief of the township. It was the chief of police. And he said, so what's your name?" And he just general talk, and I told him what happened. He said, "Oh, I know who pulled you over." He said, "He's a jerk." I mean, the chief of police is like, he's a jerk.
Yes.
And
there are different types
and there are, and
people
so
in every industry.
Praying, Julie.
he says, "So would they pull you? How fast were you going?" I said, "Apparently I was going like 35 and at 25." And he goes, "There's a margin right there, and if you're not careful," he said, and I said, "That's why it's called a speed trap, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's in front of a school zone." And he said, "So why are you in here?" And I said, "Because they're towing my vehicle." He goes, "Towing your vehicle? For what?" I said, "I have my car insurance, but I'm in a 3-piece suit coming back from a Baptist Bible college." He's like, "What are you all dressed up for?" I said, "I'm coming back from my Bible college." He goes, "You're in Bible college?" He saw me sweating. He goes, "Just calm down. We're going to work this out. We're going to work this out." And so my sister-in-law and brother get there. They pick me up, and they tow my car to this gas station in town. So he said, you know what? We're going to go pay the ticket. We're going to take care of this. So we get to the police station, and we told them what happened. And it was like a $25, $30 ticket or something like that. I can't remember how much it was. I know it was 25 more than I had. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, the chief of police told me to go in there and tell him what the chief said. Just go in the police station, tell him what happened, and tell him what a jerk he's been. And, of course, the station already knows what kind of a jerk he is, too. They dismissed my ticket.
Right then and there?
Yep, they dismissed the ticket. But then I went to the gas station where they put the impound.
Right.
And I went to go get my Volkswagen because I paid for the impound. My tires are flat. I'm like, what in the world? They flattened my tires so that I couldn't get in my car and take off.
Yeah. That's a precaution that they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know that at the time.
Yes, right.
I know that now. They deflated my tires.
They do
all
that
four of them.
There's a logic to that.
They didn't like cut them. They
No,
just
they
let
just-
the air.
they
I mean, I
let
get
the
it. We
air
need
out.
law and order. And
Right,
somebody
yeah.
said something about people will cheat the system and all that. And I get that. But I think
We'll get to your comment in a second.
I don't think it's fair to abuse law-abiding citizens who may have made a mistake and are willing to pay for it
Bruno?
in order to make everybody else pay for the actions of the bad acting of
John Boynton?
a few bad people. The thing is, if you get into court and you lie and you get away with something, that's one thing. But if you get caught, that's the problem is. You need to make such an example of somebody getting caught cheating the system that people aren't willing to cheat the system. You don't make everybody pay. Everybody who hasn't cheated the system, you don't make them pay and complicate the system so much that it's not even available to them. It doesn't even work right for them, and is unjust. In order to stop a few bad actors, to make it so complicated that if bad actor gets caught in the process, that doesn't really speed up the system. Making everything so complicated and so time-consuming. They think, a bunch of people coming into court representing themselves because they can't afford a lawyer and not being able to speak on legal terms, that they don't have the time for that. But yet they will complicate the legal system so much in order to catch or to penalize a few bad actors that might otherwise get away with something, that everybody else is paying for it. That's to me. And another thing is the police. There are bad police.
Yeah.
But there are mostly good police. I have to say that because I
there
serve
is.
them at my work.
Right.
And they're
I've
good
got a
people
lot of
who
friends
are
that are
serving the
police.
community and doing the best that they can. And I generally don't get in any trouble or even contact with the police
Right.
unless I've done something I know I shouldn't have, or have neglected something and was unaware that I let something go that I shouldn't have.
Oh, yeah.
Or had forgotten that I should have done something a long time ago, like registration or whatever.
Absolutely. Listen, my ambulance chasing lawyer, and I say it respectfully, he was very good, but that's
The term, yeah.
nickname for these guys. He knew that cop,
Yeah.
and he knew that guy was tough, and he knew that. So when I showed him the ticket, he said, "Oh, I saw the cop's name." He said, "Oh boy," but he didn't actually say that. I think he might have said to me at the time. It was so funny because he took me to the to where you pay the ticket and everything, and the guys behind the desk where you pay were asking him questions about how to do their jobs. He was so good and they were asking for advice for issues they were dealing. They were just sneaking in little extra questions, and he has a relationship with everybody. So relationships are huge.
Yeah.
And they are, whether they're
amazing.
bad or
That's one of
good,
the
it
problem
makes
is
a difference.
justice shouldn't serve a person better because they have better social skills.
But it does.
Justice should be equal for everyone.
But it
I mean,
isn't.
it should be true.
Well,
Real quick. Sorry, I'm going to adjust these comments before we move on. Julie Suter, first of all, she says that she could use some prayers this early morning. She's having surgery.
Yep.
Larry said praying, Julie, and we are praying for you,
Amen.
Julie.
yeah.
Julie, love you.
She also says, I got pulled over for speeding, and I stopped in my mother's driveway, and I started crying, and he let me go. Laugh out loud.
Girls
That's a
get
good
away-
one.
Girls get away with that sometimes. My
Well,
wife
you
has,
know,
believe me.
There's those times that I got okay. So one time here
I was
in
crying too, but
here in Springfield, I got stopped. This is before I knew they had moving radar. And I was going across a bridge here in town, Grant, and I saw a cop coming the other way, and I sped up because I'm like, he's not going to check me, you know. Next thing I know, he's right behind me. And I stopped, and oh boy, he was like, you were in and out of that traffic. And then he got a call. Actually, I had just gotten a ticket that early morning in Willard.
oh man,
And then I was on my way to tell Dad about it and, have him call the lawyer. And I got pulled over there. And the cop said, you're lucky I just got called on a more important call. He said, otherwise I'd be writing you a ticket right now. I mean, he sat there and lectured me for like 3 or 4 minutes, and it was not nice. And then I went to the shop, told Dad about me getting the ticket. And then later on that night, I was driving home, and I was following a a state trooper. Yeah, it was a state trooper following him really closely, and he slammed on his brakes. I about hit him. And then he pulled into this parking lot and then pulled right behind me. I had 2 girls in the truck with me from school,
oh no,
and they started bawling. And I was nervous. I've told you about this. I was nervous. He goes, you know what the proper following distance is? I said, 500 feet. He goes, well, yeah, that'll work. And then, like, he was in the middle of the sentence. I go, oh, 1 car length per 10 miles per hour. He goes, that's right. Just don't follow so closely. Yeah. So I didn't get a ticket that time, but I got pulled over 3 times in one day.
I have a story like that too. I was coming home from work one day. My wife was pregnant, like far along pregnant. I go around this corner too fast, and a cop comes in behind me, and I'm on my street. So I pulled into my driveway just as he's turning on his lights. Right. He pulls in behind me. My wife came storming out onto that porch, furious. And he didn't.
At you?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Like we needed a ticket right then, right? Why are the cops following me home? And he says, I'm going to let you go this time because I think you got enough problems.
Oh, that's funny. That's a guy
no,
thing.
that's funny.
Yeah.
But I just want to reiterate and say that, folks, they did find my registration, and that was one of the reasons why they wiped it out. It's because not illegally, they went ahead and towed it because they thought I had no. But once they knew I had my registration, they waived and they went ahead and I got reimbursed for the impounding and all that.
That's amazing.
And what happened was they inflated my tires. My brother went back in there and said, "You inflate every one of those tires now." And I mean, he was hot. So anyway, they did it, and I found out later on that.
It's funny, Stacy.
The lieutenant, he a couple weeks later, after getting in trouble, he was demoted. But the police officer, he was just in another world, and he was just pulling people over because it was quota time.
Yeah, Stacy Murphy says, I worked at the police dispatch for 6 years, and here in Greene County, and they absolutely do have a ticket quota. For Greene County sheriffs,
because it's become part of their budget support, and I don't think should be the way it is. It should be
it's not official, though, is it?
No, this is probably is.
I don't know what
Springfield
it is
police don't have them unless they're traffic officers. Springfield police don't like to do traffic stops. Fun fact, she says, sheriffs don't have the radar that they use either. It's built into the dash, and none of them know how to use it.
And now here's the thing: I think in general,
that's a funny moment.
In general, though, you are supposed to have your registration and all that.
Yeah,
so
you
I
are.
think if you'd lost that case, you probably could have walked away from there saying, I'll be more careful about where I put my registration, make sure I have it in a place where I know I'm going to find it. There's those things. But what about the other side of it? When we see so often in the news, people of wealth and fame who can afford the lawyers to get away with things we know we wouldn't get away with.
Yeah.
Dr. Thompson from, what's his show? On Axe Media,
Dr. Thompson?
Yeah, he was the superintendent.
Spirit in America?
Spirit in America. He told me, and he's such a wise man.
Wise guy.
He said, what makes kind of the world go round is sex, or the great the issues, the major issues are sex, power, and money.
Yep.
Okay, who's got power and who's got money?
The people who are having sex.
Is he right?
Well,
No.
no, but I mean, the thing about sex is that's the one thing that's
You were quiet,
that's the one
so-
really cool thing that's for free. I mean, all things being equal, although
Not really.
in the big picture, to a large extent, it isn't for free.
No.
But this is the problem. I mean, obviously, this is the problem in the system, and this is why I was holding on to that scripture that I brought up today. Safety is of the Lord. I mean, ultimately, we have to hold on to Jesus. We have to
Yeah.
hold on to the Lord
Yeah.
because, and with the election, going back to the election, I mean, it is crazy what could be around the corner. Being from New York, I mean, I left a job in March with a hotel that's a block from Trump Tower that was boarded up because of not because of COVID. It was boarded up because of the riots, peaceful demonstrators, so-called. And it's still boarded up. And you know why it's still boarded up?
Because there's still riots.
Because the election's not over, and they know that it's going to hit the fan again. It's not because of COVID, but I mean, to a certain extent, no. The boarding up has nothing to do with COVID. So, and not to mention, there's different opinions about how quickly to reopen. It's a very different culture there at this point. It's like, it's weird. It's because everybody has to keep their space. They can't have big groups. And when this election happens, regardless of who wins, there's going to be major, major ramifications like we've never had in an election in our lifetimes, in our parents' lifetimes. It's from parents, grandparents. They lived through World War II, then before then World War I, and the different smaller wars. This is insane what's going on, and our safety has to be from the Lord, and it's not from no matter how powerful these lawyers and judges and money people and tech giants are. Ultimately, we are answerable to the Lord God and our Creator, and we have to hold on to Jesus, and that's. We're all Christians.
Because I think it is clear that money and power and all that stuff, they can take away justice.
Absolutely.
They can take away freedom. And they can do it in a way that we don't even know it until it's gone.
Absolutely. And we'll see. We'll see what happens to this debate on Thursday night. Because again, there's incredible debate going on about the debate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard.
guys
Is it
been
true
hiding
that they're
for
gonna?
half
There was
Last
another
week.
debate.
Is it
I
true
didn't
they're
know
going to
about
turn the
that.
mics off? They're
Well,
going
yeah.
to mute the mics if they start going on tangents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're going to
can't
mute the mics on the other. On the
They have
person's
to do
2
something.
The person who has their 2 minutes is the only mic that will be on.
And the interviewer is obviously biased in her
I
history.
think they
as you're
need to
saying,
mute
talking about history.
the moderator when it gets to a
They
point where
need
it's
Joe
like.
Rogan. Joe Rogan needs to be the moderator.
I think so. I'd
yeah.
prefer that.
That'd be
I
cool.
mean, that was too one-sided. I think
If he's-
the
if-
last 2 times.
He swears too much, though, a little bit for network TV.
Yeah, he does swear too much for me. I like to watch him. I like his thought processes.
know
I
who
like
you're
his
talking about now.
curiosity. I like the people he has on who are how informed they are and how good they are at understanding and grasping the topics and stuff. I really enjoy that about it, but the foul language really bothers me. And I don't listen to him because of it.
We're not talking turkey calls either.
There's times you can tell he's trying not to.
Oh yeah, no,
He has
I,
guys
and
that
I
say,
like
you know-
him in the big picture. Just if
Yeah.
you would
Exactly.
ride that a little bit. But yeah, we it's a very scary time we're in. And
Yeah,
there's
it could get
potential.
scarier.
They need a boxing ring bell, Julie says.
Julie, you're quite a lady.
Just reminding everybody to pray for Barney. Also, his sister passed away early yesterday morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And, I told him I was going to let everybody know, pray for him and his family. Because, that's loss is so tough.
Yep.
And it's really hard on him. He's a very loving person. And
Very nice guy.
God-fearing man. So,
Well, just a quick shout out to Jaden Laborde. She videotaped my drama last night.
did she?
And
Why so
Jody
dramatic?
and and Mark sang last night for the first time in public there at CGMA and did a great job. And Jaden, she played the, what do you call that box? That's the drum that you there's, you know what I'm talking about. Well,
Yeah,
she
a
played,
cajon. It's called a
Okay.
cajon.
Well, she played that last night to accompany her dad,
Really?
and he told me to
Was my son there?
no.
Ah.
Yeah, I said, so where's Tanner?
Yeah. He's been going out. He makes it a point to see her.
And so she
Once in a
just smiled and said, "Oh, he's around." But he did tell me to tell you, Jay. He said, "So how's my sandwich making, buddy?"
Good. Winning. Still ahead.
Anyway, so he
I'm bringing
you're
it
gonna
this
have
year,
to defend
too.
your title. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to. You can't bring the same sandwich. You have to make something
yeah.
else.
So, but anyway, Jaden wanted me to tell you guys hi and that she and Jody are planning on coming up here soon. They're going to be in Comanche, Texas, on Halloween, doing a thing down there in Comanche, Texas.
Is it called Halloween?
No, it's a all day event. I got it, so don't worry. Just because I don't say anything doesn't mean that I didn't get it.
Pocahontas.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
I thought that was pretty
it-
clever play on words, really.
Yeah. So Jaden
Marginal.
thinks again, and
Marginal.
I am going to be showing Matt and Jay after the show the performance. So she said, make sure that they see it. And the dogs, Cash and Princess Leia, they got in the hotel with no problem with their dogs. By the way, no problem.
Well, they don't. No, I mean they're service animals. So.
Right. So.
But you know what that means? You know what that means? Everybody know what that means?
Yeah. The show is over.
We did it. We done. We out.
I didn't get all the
Over.
comments that would give us something to talk about, but thank you, everybody, and we will be praying for those who asked for it. And
Yes.
Truly love you. I'll be talking to you soon.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the Morning Drive today. We'll be back on tomorrow, same time, same channel. We'll be sure and tune in next for the New Gold Standard, followed by Open Ended with Peggy Lee and Jeff with a G.
That would be me.
So, until then, my friends, may God bless you and keep you. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.
Wow.
My name is Matt.
Wow.
My name is Jay.
My name is Steve.
Jeff with the G. I'm very impressed, man.
This has been
The
Morning Drive.